and welcome to Science North's career video series. In these videos, we'll meet a wide range of professionals spanning multiple sectors. Each interview will explore what they do, how they got there, and the skills that you would need to pursue a similar career. We hope that you enjoy this video, as well as the others in the series. Without any further ado, here's today's interviewee. All right, so our guest today is Christine Bick. Christine, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us about what you do.
Sure. So my background is the fact that I'm a registered nurse, and I currently work as a simulation educator at the Health Sciences North Simulation Lab.
So at the Sim Lab, there's lots of opportunities to learn and to educate. Who is using the Sim Lab? Who's coming to use the facilities?
So people who use the Sim Lab include staff of Health Sciences North, the hospital to which it's associated, as well as our partnering academic institutions, which are largely Northern Ontario School of Medicine, as well as Laurentian University, as well as some other academic institutions. And there is a segment which the user group is community agencies, so maybe the paramedics, police service, firefighting, or family health teams.
Okay, so you get a big range of people coming through the Sim Lab and all types of different careers and stuff.
Yes, different disciplines, different focuses.
Okay, so maybe you can tell us about what your role at the Sim Lab is?
Okay, so specifically as a simulation educator, one of my main jobs is to help coordinate the events, and within that to ensure kind of from start to finish that it was a really robust delivery. So starting with just clearly identifying what the objectives of the case are, clearly identifying who the learners are, which faculty will facilitate the event. We often conduct what's called a needs assessment, which is a survey essentially of the learners who will be participating in the program, just to ensure that the course will meet their needs and their wants. And it also supports buy-in, and they feel very invested in. After we've determined that, we develop the curriculum. So a large part of my job is to just make sure that it's strong curriculum, evidence-based curriculum, and also in terms of the hospital, like informed and to be reflective of the policies and procedures that are there.
Good. And so what's a clinical educator do?
So as a clinical educator, I worked with first-year nursing students, and I brought them into long-term care facilities, and I kind of supervised and guided them through their care of a patient or a resident within long-term care facility, and through their physical assessments, as well as the care provision of bed baths and feeding and that type of thing, activities of daily living.
That's really interesting. I don't think a lot of people think of that element of the medical field, right? That someone needs to teach all of this. Someone needs to be there to teach it. So I can see a lot of our students that, are flip-flopping, like teacher, medicine, teacher, medicine, teacher, medicine. Now you can do both, which
you can do both.
Brilliant. Okay, so Christine, as a simulation educator, you also use a lot of technology yourself. In what regard do you use it?
So certainly in the day-to-day of my job, I use digital skills through Microsoft Office, email, SurveyMonkey to conduct the needs assessments, electronic literature searches to just inform the content and research that we do, as well as virtual platforms such as Zoom to facilitate meetings, particularly with our rural and remote partners, and that was occurring even before COVID-19 restrictions. Specifically, as a simulation educator, it's very important to understand the complexities of the simulation equipment that is being used. So ensuring that the task trainers or high fidelity mannequins that you're going to incorporate into the event, that they are able to do what you hope that they can do, but that you're also using it to the fullest, so the best that they can be utilized to simulate reality as best as we can. And in contrast to that, also understanding the frontline care of healthcare facilities and academic institutions, the equipment that they're working with. So IV pumps, defibrillators, breathing machines, intra-aortic balloon pumps, to understand the functioning of those so you can properly reflect the content and the curriculum that's associated with the programs.
Maybe you can tell me about some of your favorite parts of the job.
So definitely my favorite part of my job is recognizing the impact that it can have on the broad healthcare system. So specifically to the frontline staff and the user group, whichever their job position is, it's just the the fact that simulation has contributed to increasing their confidence and increasing their competence in the care that they provide and the assessments that they do, procedural skills that they perform, as well as the communication just within their like interdisciplinary teams, as well as with their patients. And I think when you look broader, because you've now impacted frontline staff, that ultimately impacts patient safety. So improving patient outcomes and then just reducing the chance of medical error, I think is a very rewarding thing.
Do you have any advice that you'd give the students that are watching this right now?
Well, some advice I do have once you've narrowed down your kind of rough area of interest would just be to talk to somebody who works within that field, or see if you can shadow them and see what actually happens on their day-to-day work and what their workload would entail. And then I think a little bit broader than that is just ultimately pursue something that motivates you and inspires you. I think that will be reflected in the work that you do every day and ultimately the career that you would have. I think it's important to realize you can have an impact in this world in so many different ways, whether you're a mechanic, a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, an insurance broker. They all serve a very important role within the daily functioning of society. And as long as you're motivated to learn and do your best, I think you'll have a very rewarding career.
Thank you very much for joining us and for all those great answers. I learned a lot, and I hope all the students did too. So thank you again, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see you around at the Sim Lab.
Yes, excellent. Perfect.